Hi everyone, I'm JosieWose and today we're going to be reading from Disney Pixar's 5-Minute Treasury. If you like this book, make sure you buy it so you can read along at home. And if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe. So we're going to be reading Finding Dory, An Unforgettable Family. Here we go. An Unforgettable Family. Dory was a little blue tang. She lived with her parents in a beautiful coral cave surrounded by seagrass. From a very young age, Dory had trouble remembering things. "Hi, I'm Dory," she would say when she met someone new, and then she would tell them that she had short-term memory loss. Dory's parents worried about their forgetful daughter and did everything they could to stop her from getting lost. But one day, Dory did get lost. "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming," she sang to herself, getting further and further away from her home. Time passed and Dory grew up, but she still asked every fish she met if they had seen her parents. "Where did you last see them?" the fish would ask. "Well, funny story, but, I forgot." Poor Dory had forgotten where she came from. Soon, she forgot about her parents too. Dory met a clownfish named Marlin. Kind-hearted Dory helped Marlin find his missing son Nemo. A year later, the three friends lived together on the coral reef. They had a happy and colorful home and had lots of fun. One day, Dory suddenly muttered something under her breath. "The Jewel of Morro Bay, California." Just then, a flood of memories came rushing into her head. She remembered her parents and her home. She was from California. "Dory, California is all the way across the ocean," said Marlin. "Please, Marlin," said Dory, "please help me find my family." "Yeah, Dad," said Nemo. "You can get us all the way across the ocean, right?" Marlin sighed. Soon, the three friends were hitching a ride to California with their old friend Crush the Turtle. But when Dory, Marlin, and Nemo arrived in Morro Bay, California, disaster struck. Dory was scooped up by a human and carried away in a boat. "Don't worry, Dory," a panicked Marlin called after her. "Stay calm. We'll come and find you." Dory was dropped into a tank. An octopus appeared and reached one of his long tentacles towards her. "Name's Hank," he said. Hank explained that Dory was in quarantine, and the orange tag clipped to her fin was a transport tag. She was going to be taken to an aquarium in Cleveland. "Cleveland?" gasped Dory. "No, I can't go to Cleveland. I have to get to the Jewel of Morro Bay, California." "That's this place," said Hank. "The Marine Life Institute. This is the Jewel of Morro Bay. You're here." Hank said he would help Dory search for her parents if she gave him her transport tag. He liked the idea of living in a nice, safe tank in Cleveland. Dory agreed, so Hank scooped her up into a coffee pot full of cold water and they set off to explore the institute. Dory spotted a bucket with the word Destiny on it. She felt it was very important that she get into that bucket, so she did. Hank followed the bucket as Dory was carried away by a member of staff. Dory was tipped into a large pool, home to a whale shark called Destiny. Her neighbor was Bailey, a beluga whale. Destiny realized that she had known Dory when they were young. Dory had lived in the open ocean exhibit next door, and they used to talk to each other through the pipes. Dory had to get to open ocean. That's where her parents would be. But Dory didn't want to swim through the pipes to the open ocean exhibit. She might get lost. Just then, Dory spotted some pushchairs on the side of Destiny's pool. "We're gonna hijack one of those," Dory said. She jumped into a small cup of water on the tray of one of the pushchairs. Hank pushed her across the park to the open ocean exhibit and gently dropped Dory into the water. She gave him her orange tag. "Now go get your family," Hank said. Dory swam down through the clear, cool tank. At the bottom, she saw a trail of seashells. Suddenly, she remembered seeing a similar trail when she was a child. Her parents had made a shell path to guide her back whenever she got lost. But one day, she had got sucked into the pipes and whisked away into the ocean. This was her home. But where were her parents? There were no blue tangs at all. Dory didn't know what to do. Just then, a friendly crab appeared. He explained that all the blue tangs had been taken to quarantine, ready to be driven to the aquarium in Cleveland. Dory couldn't believe it. She had to get back to quarantine. The only way to quarantine was through the pipes. Dory was nervous, but she swam in. Suddenly, two shapes emerged from the darkness. It was Marlin and Nemo. They had met a bird called Becky, who had carried them in a bucket into the institute to search for Dory. "You found me," Dory cried. She explained about Hank, Destiny, Bailey, and the shell paths. Dory's journey to find her parents would be much easier now that she had her friends with her. But by the time Dory, Marlin, and Nemo arrived in quarantine, the tank of blue tangs had already been loaded onto the lorry heading for Cleveland. Luckily, Hank was there to help. He lifted them in the coffee pot and placed them into the tank inside the lorry. The other blue tangs recognized Dory, but they had sad news. Dory's parents had left for quarantine years ago. Dory was heartbroken. Slowly, Dory drifted back into the waiting coffee pot. As Hank picked it up and backed out of the lorry, he peered into the pot in alarm. "Where's everybody else?" he asked Dory. Marlin and Nemo were still in the tank on the lorry. Before Hank could do anything about it, a worker grabbed him and bundled him back onto the lorry too. The coffee pot fell to the floor and shattered. Dory spilled into a drain, which took her out into the ocean. Once again, she was lost and alone. In the bay outside the institute, Dory swam along, wondering what to do. Then something caught her eye. A trail of shells. She followed it. Suddenly, two blue tangs appeared. Dory gasped. It was her parents. They had been creating shell trails all this time, in the hope that Dory would see them and remember. "It's you! It's really you!" cried Dory, bursting into tears. "Oh, honey, you found us," said Dory's mum. "And you know why you found us? Because you remembered. You remembered in your own amazing Dory way." Dory was so happy, but she hadn't forgotten her other family, Marlin and Nemo. She had to save them. Dory and her parents swam towards the institute's walls. They watched in horror as the lorry started to drive away with Marlin, Nemo, and Hank still inside. Dory swam around in a panic. Then she remembered her friends. "Destiny!" she called in her best whale voice. "Dory?" Destiny answered. The whale shark leapt over the wall and into the ocean to help her friend. Bailey came too. The friends swam after the lorry and Destiny used her tail to flip Dory up to it. Inside, Hank helped Dory into the tank containing Marlin and Nemo. "You came back," said Nemo. "Of course," said Dory. "I couldn't leave my family." Then Marlin had an idea. He called out to Becky the bird. When she arrived, she scooped Marlin and Nemo into her bucket again. "We don't have Dory," cried Marlin. But Becky didn't stop. She flew away and dropped Marlin and Nemo into the ocean. Dory and Hank were still inside the lorry. Hank slipped out of a vent and spread himself across the lorry's windscreen. The shocked driver stopped the lorry on a bridge and got out. Hank slipped back inside, climbed into the driver's seat and locked the doors. Then he started to drive the lorry. Hank, said Dory, I'm going to ask you to do something crazy. Hank smiled. He knew what to do. Dory's family watched in amazement as Hank drove the lorry straight off the bridge into the ocean. The doors flew open and all the fish spilled out into the sea. They were free. Dory, Marlin, and Nemo headed back home across the ocean, along with all their new family and friends. Dory was happier than she had ever been. Sometimes she swam off on her own, and she always remembered how to get back to her huge family. One day, Marlin and Dory were bobbing in the water at the edge of the reef, gazing out into the blue. Wow, it really is quite a view, said Marlin. Yep, replied Dory. She turned to Marlin and smiled. Unforgettable, she said. I just love following Dory on all of her underwater adventures. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to my channel, JosieWose, and I'll see you later. Bye!